welcome to the Golden Hour. I am Golden Duffy, your host, and I have a super exciting guest today. I just feel really honored and blessed to have this person present to you because I have actually been working with her over the past month and a half, and it's radically changed my life. So when we come to this, life's journey, a lot of times we find people along the way, little angels on our path that help us to expand and grow further, help us to expand and grow faster. And that may be one of the reasons why you listen to this show, because I am helping you to navigate life and giving you perspectives that helps you to expand and grow further. So I'm going to share. Michelle Robinson is a guiding light for spiritual seekers who want to know more about their origins and get clarity on why they came here so they can find meaning and purpose in everything they do. Michelle meets you where you are and connects with your soul to help you make sense of your life journey. She offers practical guidance to navigate life's challenges and helps you successfully manifest what you need. Michelle specializes in uncovering and clearing hidden patterns that keep you stuck, confused, and unable to reach your highest potential. She's an expert at finding the missing pieces of information you need to become all you can be. Michelle is a multidisciplinary energy practitioner and a certified hypnotherapist and life coach. She has a wealth of knowledge and experience that has helped countless people over the last 20 years expand their awareness, trust their intuition, and confidently create their best life. Welcome, Michelle. I'm going to bring her up, hopefully. Oh, my computer's doing some funny things today. Okay, here we go. Yay! We did it.
Yay!
I'm
Thank you.
so happy to have you here, and I just feel like it's a blessing to work with people who have who have deeper information for us and can give us guidance. I don't think it's really smart for us to get psychic readings and things like that to know what the future is. But I do think it's valuable to have someone to kind of support the energetic exchange that we're looking for, right?
It is. And yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's lovely to be invited. Always a pleasure to connect with you.
Always.
And I totally agree. I think we don't want to be told anymore what our future is, because we know we are creating that with our choices right in the moment, live now.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times, psychic messages or all the different modalities where you're reaching outside of yourself for answers can a lot of times disempower you because you feel like you need those messages and you're not trusting your own internal guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. There's a place for them, for sure. I'm not saying they're bad or anything like that. But, it is about your own connection with your own guidance. And, how can you be empowered if you've got someone telling you what's going to happen? Because with the best intention in the world, you either buy into that in some way, shape, or form, or you start pushing it away.
Exactly. And I look at those things as my new word is for funsies. It's fun, it's fun sometimes to see what's being said out there. But as I learn more about myself, I did my human design and I did my numerology. And as I'm finding these things out about myself, I'm using it for empowerment. I'm not using it to limit my potential. So I think there are ways that you can work with these different modalities, but just not to get stuck in any one condition because we're limitless, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. And, I think there's a plethora of things out there. There's a wealth of information. There's something in every exchange for you to take on board or to learn or grow and expand from. And so if you really hold and see yourself as the powerful creator in your own world, then you can cherry pick the best, and then get help with the stuff that you need help with. But it's not like, oh, I'm broken, fix me. It's like, I'm dealing with this, can't quite nail it. What am I missing? And that's really what I do.
I love that. And I have I think that's the paradigm that we're shifting out of. There's been so many businesses built and so much money made on and making people believe that they're broken and that they need programs to fix them. And if you're going into programs with that intention, there is no fixing you because you're at a low vibrational state. So you can't actually connect with, you may get better and you may do some progress, but as far as this, none of us are broken, right? We're all here. And some of us, I think, are fragmented. I really believe that I had
Mm.
fragmented experience for a long time where I cut parts of myself off and I compartmentalized. And um, so I believe it's about coming into our wholeness, but I don't believe ever that we're broken.
No. And fragmented is very different to broken.
Yeah.
But, I like to think of it as, we are all the same. We are all perfect, perfectly imperfect, and the ongoing work in progress is the fun of the journey, and people say, oh, what's my purpose? Well, we all actually have the same purpose. It's to create the best experiences we can for ourselves
Yes.
and hopefully each other.
Yes. And how many people keep themselves in this really low state where they think they're supposed to be this big purpose out there? And the purpose is to expand and grow through life, through, raising a family or not raising a family, through, having a career or not having a career. If you don't have answers about a big giant purpose, then it's time to start looking at your life and being like, what makes me feel like I'm fulfilled? It's more of like a fulfillment thing. I think this purpose thing it's gotten crazy.
Out of hand. Yes. because it is. It's really, how do I find meaning? How does that fulfill me? And so it's really sort of what do I express? How do I express myself? And what does that look like in the real world?
Yes.
And, we're all playing with choice and consequence.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yes.
And so, that's how we learn. We learn through what we create, the choice we make, the consequence it brings, and we're constantly sort of, course correcting and experimenting, and it's not meant to be perfect.
No. I mean, we learn more from course correcting than anything else, right?
I think so.
I've kind of brought that into my decision making recently when I'm trying to decide if I should do something, and it's pulling at me, right? Like it's an excitement, but then there's this fear of like, what if I don't like it, or what if it doesn't work out? And I'm like, it's all good because it's experiential. Like whatever happens, you're going to learn something from it. So just go for the journey of it, not just for the end result.
Yeah. That's true. And I think one of the most powerful things that I do with my clients is I make that knowing that it's going to be okay easy.
Yeah.
I have a process that puts them in alignment with knowing what that looks like for themselves.
Yeah.
And so, once they've got the tools to create that knowing in their life, then they also know how to create ideal outcomes over and over and over. Right. And that's when you lose the fear. That's when you step off the hamster wheel into something more, which is the bigger expression of you.
Right. And you stop getting in your own way. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit of a dance. But you understand that you're the choreographer.
That's good. I actually got a good visual on that. Like when you go to like go around somebody and they go the same way, it's like if you're doing that with yourself,
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm going to keep that in mind. So only because I'm super curious, how did you get into this? Like, how did you discover your gifts? Was this something that you always knew since you were young?
I mean, I I always had them, I suppose. So I don't know what, not knowing things that other people don't know. I don't know what that's like, but I didn't really necessarily appreciate what to do with them or how to use them to really help me. So, I think that as I went through life and, we get into sticky situations here and there, I asked one question, and that was, what can I do?
I love that question.
And that, that really opened lots of gateways. It was like I was stuck in a lot of I can'ts and chaos and, whoa. and worry. And so I asked what I could do. And that's when I really started using my gifts. So now I share how to do that with others.
I love that. And that's so different from I don't know what to do.
Mm.
Like it's a completely different vibration. And the vibration of I don't know what to do is the vibration a lot of people are walking around with, you know,
Yeah.
do nothing because they don't know what to do because they're not tapping into their guidance and they're sitting in that state of confusion. So you offer that clarity. And I think that that is probably one of the greatest gifts that you've given to me is the clarity. You
Mm.
know, I'm a pretty clear person, but when you get too close to your stuff, it can be hard to see. You know, we get in our own little patterns and our doubts. And when you have somebody on the right next to you, telling you and giving you the support and the clarity, then it just, I don't know, it just makes the pathway a lot clearer and easier.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And I love that you said that because, that's what I call like closing the loop.
Yes.
Because when I'm connecting with your soul, I'm connecting with the part of you that has all those answers,
Yes.
right? And so the questions that I ask you really move you into a different space because it's really you talking to you.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't know if you felt this, but you kind of feel it in your body
Yeah.
when you yeah
Yeah.
you feel that conversation. So you're not only dancing with yourself when you're talking to yourself as well. It's really all about you, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's like
Oh, my
each of us.
husband says that all the time. It's all about you, isn't it?
It is.
All this mantra for a long time, and I don't say it out loud, but I still say it in my head where I said everything. I always get what I want. That's what I was. And he's like, I don't know if I like that anymore. I'm like, yeah, because eventually he wants what I want, so it's all good. You know, it's all good. He resists me in the beginning, and then like I don't.
Yes,
It's a dance. It's a dance for sure.
it sure is.
Yeah.
It sure is. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask the question about it had to do with clarity. And so, oh, and asking the right questions, because I found this too working with people. Like the right question is everything. And so when you're in those moments of confusion and you don't know what to do, start asking those different questions, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Instead of being like, I don't even think people ask questions. I think that's the problem. People don't ask questions, right? They just keep going on automatic programs and behaviors that keep giving them the same thing. I saw this thing on Facebook this morning, and are you familiar with Abraham Hicks?
Sure.
So she's a channeler, and I've followed her for a long time, and she's brilliant. But they
Mm.
said, I've been following Abraham Hicks for years, and nothing changes. And I said, then it's time to do something different.
Yes. Yes.
There's no magic pill here, and nobody's gonna, like if this information, this leading edge information isn't, you're not following it, then it's time for something new. Like it's just so funny how people get themselves caught. And I think if we can laugh at ourselves, that's a really good thing.
Laughing is just a wonderful, joyful, free expression, and it just really breaks that heavy energy up. So, yeah, if you can keep laughing, you'll be okay. But some days there isn't laughter,
True.
in fairness. And so those are the days when you really want to be able to understand that there actually is always a way.
Yes.
Because you always have choice.
Yes.
Like it may just be how you feel about something, but you always have choice. And when you remember that, you can always feel powerful in your own
Yes.
skin. And then you start thinking, well, okay, you start asking the questions. What can I do?
Yeah.
And another great question is, what's special about me?
I love that.
What can I do that nobody else does, or that I do in a way that's a little bit different to everybody else? And when you start to get a sense of that, that will always guide you, because if you always come home to your gifts, to your true self,
Yeah.
clarity forms.
Yeah. That's your brilliance. That's your essence, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. And I think we do run into, and I know I run into this sometimes, we take for granted what we know. And we kind of think that everybody else knows it, and they don't. You know? Many times they don't, because people will be led to you for you to share your information. And I always share, whenever you're going through challenges or chaos, that what you gain from that is the wisdom to share with people that are coming through it after you. And that's part of the gift, right? The currency of it.
Absolutely is. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
I wanted to touch on the challenge and the chaos, because
mhm.
in my life, there's been a lot of chaos, and for a long time, I mean, I went through house foreclosure and bankruptcy and leaving everything that we ever knew and moving across the country, and then going through financial struggle again. And every house we've lived in has been like created from chaos. And I remember right before I moved into this house, which was 5 years ago, I remember thinking, I don't want to create from chaos anymore. Like, it's exhausting, right? And creating from chaos, for me, what it means is you get, the energy starts to ramp up really fast, and you're in a lot of contrast. So there's a lot of things happening that you don't like. And what that does is that fuels your desire. Like, it makes your desire so strong. So in some ways it serves us, because it
Mm.
helps the desire to actually formulate and become more. But I'm like, there's got to be an easier way. Gotta be an easier way, this, like, we call it the 11th hour, like,
Yes.
but when we finally let go and surrender, and then everything works out, but it couldn't work out yet because we were still holding on so tight. So can you speak to, like, creating from a gentler flow versus chaos?
Absolutely. And just before I do, though, I want to just touch into, because you in a spot that's really, really important. And it's the bit where it gets so overwhelming and so chaotic that you say, you actually let go.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is you get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And that brings you into an alignment. And that's why it works out, because you just suddenly got out of your own way.
I always picture it like the universe goes, oh, finally. She finally
Yes.
sat down, and now we can come in and orchestrate what we were trying to do.
Yes, we've been on standby. We've been on standby. Hallelujah. Here we go. Let's do this, And
Yes.
it does, and it rolls out with incredible precision and speed,
Yes.
and usually creates something more or
Yeah.
better than you thought of for yourself. So, when you're creating from a gentler space of clarity, you're creating from a space that doesn't have desperation,
Mm-hmm.
need,
Mm-hmm.
or demand in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually creating in a way ahead of the drama.
Right.
And that's why you don't have the drama or the struggle, because like you're ahead of what's happening. So it puts you in a powerful position in your own life. You are the driver's seat.
Yeah.
You are in that driver's seat of the vehicle.
Yep.
You, in your life, you're not the passenger along for the ride anymore.
Yes.
And that makes it so much easier, just repositioning yourself like that.
Yeah. I think people's question probably would be, how do we not get in desperation? How do we not go to the anxiety? I remember when I was looking at this particular house that we live in now that I love so much, and we had a week to move. So it was intense. It was an intense time. I'd looked at 25 properties and none of them were right. And I remember when I walked into this house, I got the chills. Like, and I said this to my husband because we're moving again. And I said, every home that we've lived in, we have known, we have walked in, and we have had this knowing that gives us confidence. Like, this is the place. We know the energy clicks, right? But I remember having my heart was still racing. My body was still responding, but my mind was chill. I knew that it was all going to work out, but my body still had that I guess it's a trauma response, right?
It's part trauma, it's part, excitement.
True. I could have labeled it as that. You're right, because that's the same
Yeah, it's a
energy.
mix.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was
But
a
I
big
think,
level. It was a big up level from where we were living. Like, this home
yeah.
it was way better. So I feel like the next house we're going to kind of transition into it a little smoother. But I have you now, so that's great.
Yeah, that's right. You will. You will, definitely.
Yeah.
I think too, like when you're doing, you're creating something new and it is a big uplift and you are stepping from what you know very quickly as you did
Yeah.
into something new, but it is actually unknown. So your unconscious mind goes, okay, so some of that physical response was, okay, check for survival. Are we going to be
Yes.
safe here? And
Yes.
then the mind kicks in and goes, can I imagine this for
Yeah.
me? Like,
Yeah.
do I deserve it? And
Yes.
even though on one level mentally you go, of course, I get it, we do, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So part of manifesting from a calm place of clarity is, having given those voices a chance to speak, having understood what their messaging is, and then calm, inner calm with that, and so that when you bring, I use this word alignment again. So when you bring your thoughts and your feelings and your beliefs into align with what you're doing, something really interesting happens in the energy around you, and the universe goes, aha, it's like, ding,
Mhm.
have this.
Yeah. Completely. I was having a conversation yesterday and I said, decision is everything because the universe can't work with wishy-washy energy. So when you're
Mm,
like, my heart is calling me to this, but I don't know if it's right. It's like, it's right. You're keeping yourself in a miserable place by not making that strong decision and saying, this is what we're going to do. Before we moved to California, we booked plane tickets and it was 4 years before we did that. And then within 4 months of booking those plane tickets, we were in California. But before that, there wasn't enough decision. We had to make a decision in action. I think a lot of people miss the action piece of it.
mm.
They think they can just sit there and dream it into being. I think The Secret kind of made you felt like you could sit in your house and a sports car would be in your driveway.
Yeah.
I'm like, the secret left the secret. The secret didn't even give the secret, right? You have
Yeah.
to be in some sort of action because action is what tells the universe, okay, I'm serious about this. I'm not just spouting empty words.
Yeah, and it's the follow through, isn't it? So like, my heart is calling me to do XYZ, but I don't know if it's right. Well, that's the head.
Yeah.
That's the head saying, don't change anything, because we are kind of hardwired to sameness because, in caveman days, that was what kept us alive and kept us safe. So we've got that narrative going on,
Yeah.
which has to be sort of given a small place.
Right.
A
Right.
small place. It often has a huge place,
Yeah.
way bigger than it needs to have. So when you choose to do something and you go, okay, my heart is calling me, understand that's right. If your heart is calling you and you've had that message, then this is where you take what I call sort of inspired action.
Mhm.
You step toward that and you step out of
Yeah.
the old story. And
Yeah.
that's not easy to do. And that's one thing I do work with my clients to
Mhm.
do. They
Mhm.
come to me because they want to change their reality.
Yes.
They want something different.
And it's at that
And
moment where you ask that question, right? What can you do? And
exactly.
that's what I work with people, just opening up that awareness because most of the time I found these calls of the heart, they don't make a lot of sense. Like I didn't really know a lot about California and I wanted to move there and people ask me to explain that and I really still can't really explain it except that now that I'm here, I understand it. Now I
Yeah.
understand that this was the pathway to everything I was asking for, the sunshine, the trees, the ocean, just being surrounded by beauty and the lack of winter. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big plus.
Yeah. And the people are amazing here for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So when looking, okay, so let's say that you're on the cusp of something. We could use my new little move. Um,
Yes. Let's.
I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. I'm having a lot more fun with it. And my husband said to me, whenever in the past I've said I need to, we need to up level, he would always go, oh God, because it's like here we go. And now we feel like the up level has already taken place. Like we're already in alignment with it. So we're not trying to catch up with it. So
Mm.
that feels really good. So we're looking in different areas, and I really want to be near the ocean, but my husband does not. So we drove through a couple of places the other day, and where I was thinking we were going to end up, and it was really crowded. There was a lot of people. He doesn't like the condensedness of it. You know, we like space. We like, he needs room for his stuff, and I didn't get bummed out. With this is different than in the past. I was just like, it doesn't matter because the universe knows what's best for me. If it's not best for me to live in an ocean town, I know I'm going to live right next to one. So, you know, if it means I'm going to have a more expansive house with a pool and a view and all of that, then I surrender.
I felt that that's not a bad place to surrender into. Okay, it's beautiful, actually.
That's pretty good, right?
Well, yeah, the
I,
view, you know,
exactly.
and
Go ahead.
no, well, that's the thing. We think I want to be by the ocean,
Yes,
but it's always hectic. Everybody wants to be by the ocean, you
exactly.
know.
Yeah.
So say you move back and you're up on a hill, so you see the ocean,
Yes.
but you have your water, you have your pool. And that's the thing. Like you get everything you want, but it's in a different format than you sort of visualize.
Yeah,
And you also get a happy husband.
exactly. Exactly. And the cool thing about us is we're usually very in alignment. So it doesn't
Mm.
really matter what's happening or what we both say we want. We always like solidify. We always come together. Like whenever I've said, "Oh, I found the house," he'll come and go, "Yeah, this is the house." Like we know together. So that's the great thing. But I know there's probably a lot of couples that aren't on that same page. And I think it's often because we fight it. You know, we fight against what somebody else wants. Before we moved to California, he didn't want to come, and I just would get quiet because I was
Mm.
like, I always get what I want. But I think couples, you know, in relationships, we're always trying to bring people over to our side and we're always trying to convince people of our belief systems. And I think we can get ourselves into trouble with creating with that because then we start to feel powerless in that, right?
Yeah, and the response can be often when you're in a sort of engagement like that with your partner. You know, I have to win. I
Yes.
have to get what I want. But
Yes.
you know, and then that creates someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. Someone's going to give and someone's going to receive. And
Exactly.
so when you explore that from what you both want, you end up with the beautiful house up on the hill with everything you both need,
Yes.
and you both feel like winners. If you allow a little space for the universe to come in and you listen to the clues as you're in the process,
That's what we're doing.
yeah, you'll be fine. You'll find exactly the right place. And you already know you will because I feel that.
I do. And I love that you said up on the hill because we're up on a hill right now. So our view is so fantastic. And that's something that's important to us to be able to look out and see the expansive mountains or to see the ocean is something that, you know, it brings life force to us every day when I can look out and see a beautiful sunrise or sunset. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So we know
Yeah.
it's important and we're doing it all in funsies. We call it funsies. I'm like, let's just
I
do it
like it.
for funsies, you know?
Yeah. It's you're gonna be in this process, so why not make it a happy, joyful one rather than an arduous, difficult one, you know?
Yes. I mean, that's the life
And
story right there, right? We have a
yeah,
choice.
we have the choice. That's exactly it. So, all things are possible because you have the choice about what the trade-offs are and
Mm,
choice whether you connect, into your higher power, your most expanded being. We make so many choices all the time. I think when people are running around in chaos and overwhelmed, that's where we forget. We give our power away.
yeah.
And that's where we start to go off the path.
Yeah. It's so true. So what advice can you give to our listeners about how to get back on that path?
Now, when you come back to who you are,
Hmm.
And, one of the things that I work with clients to do in the very first piece is, why are you here? What are
Mm-hmm.
you about? What's your reason for being? So when you have those pieces,
Yeah.
then you look at what's going on, and it's really easy to say, does that bring me more of that, or does it take away?
Right.
And suddenly you know exactly what you're doing. You have clarity because you think, no, that's not me. This is where I'm going. And with that clarity comes that confidence and that sense of direction that feels really right. And that's the knowing.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing that you do. I have your website is streaming underneath for people who would like to do a session with you. I would highly recommend it. You have my stamp of approval.
Thank you.
And I don't know, I think we met in December and I just feel like we've only done a few sessions together, but I feel different. I feel different and I feel more powerful and I feel less likely to go into my doubts and to my other stories. And I don't know, the path is kind of opened up. And you've also made me realize that I am moving so fast that okay, I woke up at 4:44 this morning with a message and I could not get up. So that's kind of putting all this stuff in there and doing all the things that I do and realizing how fast I'm moving. It's giving me a way to go, okay, I just need to chill. It's okay. It's okay to like stop today and just put the TV on and just take a break, you know?
Yeah, totally. Because when you do that, like it nurtures you, and also when you process energy really fast, like you do, exceptionally quickly, there is a time for the physical. The physical actually has to catch up. So, while you're watching TV, the physical world is catching up with what you've already created, since 4:44 in the morning. And it also gives those around you a chance to keep up.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
important.
So true. So true. Oh my gosh, that's magnificent. I got to remember that. That's really good. I think that in being in this life experience, it's so easy to get caught up. I was having a conversation with a woman the other night and I said, she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just doing this program and I'm doing this other program and then I'm going to do this." And I was like, "Girl." She goes, "I'm just exhausted." I'm like, that's not how this is supposed to go. Like you said, we need time to integrate. We need time to allow the universe to co-create and orchestrate for us. So it's great to work on yourself, but I do feel like people get kind of addicted. I call it paralysis of analysis. They
Yeah.
get addicted to the programs and addicted to the trying to fix themselves. And I think that's why I love working with you because it's not about that at all.
Mm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's, I think what the seductive thing about a lot of, serial program
Yeah.
doers is that they go in and it actually helps them to focus on themselves. Like
Yeah.
they take the time to focus on themselves,
Yeah.
but it gives them a sense of feeling special,
Mhm.
like they matter, like they're important
Yeah.
because, someone comes in, they're focusing on you, they're working with you. So I like to allow my clients the opportunity to find that as like a fundamental thing right at the start. And even if you're someone like you who's really clear about their gifts, there's a way to really embody those more fully.
Mhm.
And when you do that for someone, they're less prone to need things from outside,
Right.
because when you understand who you are, why you're here, and how you get to do you, it's easy because the energy comes in and supports that
Mm.
rather than, like you say, this fractured or a little bit of this and a little bit of that, or, and sometimes people can manifest really easily and sometimes they get stuck and they don't know why they get stuck.
Right.
Maybe that's something we should talk about because
Yeah.
there,
Please.
there's that, okay, that push pull,
Yeah. Yeah.
and sometimes it's a belief, that is undermining what you feel you want for yourself.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes it's a belief that, things just don't come easily to you. So you create a lot of chaos when really, actually, when you understand how your energy works and how you connect energy to the sort of the creation flow that we're all in, it's actually easy.
Yeah.
It actually is.
Yeah. And it gets easier and easier as you work with it. And then you understand that if something isn't coming, that there's timing, there's orchestration, there's things that are being put into place, and you don't get into that place of impatience. Or I think that's the biggest thing that I see with people, especially people who haven't been able to manifest something for years, like when I was stuck in Connecticut, I was just like, one winter I threw out all my winter clothes, and then the next winter I had to buy all new winter clothes. I'm like, oh my God, as if,
Yeah.
Turns out you need winter clothes when it's 60 degrees when you live in California. So I think they get stuck because it's been so long that it's kind of like, oh, it's never happening for me. And then that becomes the vibratory energy on it. So can you just speak a little bit to the shift and the shifts that someone like that would need to make? Like, let's say, you've held on to a job for a long time because you're fearful of not being able to make the money. But I've seen it so many times when people just let go of that thing that's not working, very, very quickly and swiftly something new comes.
Yes. And we're not talking about, I had a radical thought and you dump your life overnight. We're not talking about that sort of thing at all. We're talking about, I've had a message from the universe, I've had a prompt, and following that.
Yes.
Yeah, look, there's three things really that get in our way when we're trying to manifest something. And sometimes those things are hidden unconsciously. And that's why it's really, really hard. Like, you can be doing all the right things, but it's still not happening. And one is that you don't feel you deserve it.
Big one.
Yeah. Yeah. The other is that you feel like, well, that's not available to me. I can't have what I want. What I want isn't out there. And so you sort of put, I'd like this. You say to the universe, I'd like this, but I understand it's not really for me. Right. So the universe goes, okay, next.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen. And then the other one is that you can't have it all at the same time. So, how many people have life humming along in so many different aspects, and then there's one, it's either relationships or job or finances or something like that. There's one area that they just can't put together.
Yes. So what is that? That's just a belief.
That's a belief that you can't have it all.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Right. Which is worthiness, right? Would you say that's worthiness? Yeah.
And then there's different reasons. So an example is, a client that I had that could not manifest a happy relationship, a lasting partnership. And she was doing all the right things, going to write the courses. What we found with her was, underneath all of that, she actually didn't want one. Because she had a belief that men were bad. Did bad things, and that went right back to childhood.
Yeah.
So sometimes you've got to dig quite a bit to find out what those underlying things are. But once you adjust those, bingo.
Yeah. I've had a lot of experience with growing up with beliefs and mantras about people who had money were not good people. So I had to really work with that and understand that, money just makes you more of who you are. And so that was a childhood programming that, until I was able to get past that and heal that and come to a new belief system, it really did keep us from making money. Yeah.
The other thing that trips us up along this is, like, you feel you want something, everything's in alignment, but it still doesn't happen. And that's really usually traced back to, if I have this, I've got to let something else go that I really love.
Yeah.
This is going to cost me in some way, shape, or form. So you get stuck on the cusp of that big breakthrough, or
I have that. I totally have that, and you're going to help me work on that. That's the fear of not being here for my family if I go out and create and express my work. And
Yeah.
it shows up like I just did this big event and it showed up because I'm not able to do the same things I do for my family that I love to do so much. So it did show up and I noticed it. And, I have to I don't think that my family is going to step up and do things until I let this go, to step up and support me in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a
Even yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fear around that, isn't it? Because you've nurtured your children, you've created your family, they're there because of you
yeah.
and what you've put together. So to let that go, to
Yeah.
trust them to be the people they are, that's a big deal. It takes a lot of courage.
It
It
does.
takes a lot of belief. So yeah, that is a process, right? That's not something that just flicks overnight.
Yeah.
But you can do that gently. You can do that in a safe, supportive way.
Yeah.
And that's part of the calm, gentle process.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be harsh and chaotic,
Yeah. I need help with that.
Yeah.
Like when the stress of everything hits, and that's when I'm just like, I'm not in my alignment with my true self. And I'm just kind of spinning out. But I'm
Yeah.
doing it to myself. Like I recognize it, I can see it. And then the universe supports me. Like the day that I was really having a hard time, I ended up going to this incredible sound bath. And then I had an appointment with you the next day. So it was like all of the things I was asking for, which was like to calm down and to get out of this feeling. And it totally worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And that's the thing. That's the first piece, isn't it? The awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then usually you're catching things after the fact, and then you catch yourself in the process, and
Yes.
then the process doesn't happen.
Right.
It's gone.
Look forward to that. So I had a question when we were talking about my husband and I had a conversation the other day about when things are going really well and our lives are ramping up and there's a lot of abundance and there's a lot of wonderful things happening, but there's always that feel of too good to be true. Like those are programs that we grew up with, right? And then there's that saying, I don't know if you guys have this saying there, but it's like you're waiting for the shoe to drop. I have no idea what that means, by the way. I think I need to look this up, but it's like you're waiting for something bad to happen because you're like, everything's going too good. And I know a lot of people feel this way because I've talked to them about it. I don't necessarily have that feeling because I just have this belief right now that the better it gets, the better it gets. But we do have past momentum of things going really well and then kind of falling apart. So can you just speak to like that feeling and how to unravel that program?
Yeah, well, you said it perfectly. It's a belief, but you're actually on top of that belief now. You're driving that belief. It's not driving you.
Right.
So your new thing that you are programming on top of that belief is no, the better it gets, the better it gets.
Yeah.
And that comes back to, I can't have it all.
Yes, 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 yes. All right, I'm going to talk to him about that because I know that I feel very strongly that when one person is in alignment, that's the one that will be the most powerful creator. Because I do know there's, people in relationships where they get nervous. Oh my gosh, my husband's so negative or my wife's so negative, and how do I create positively when I have a negative spouse? And I
Mm.
just say, you draw all your attention away from it. Like
Yeah.
you love them anyways, right?
Yeah. I mean, you chose them.
You
You love them.
Yeah, and if
You
you
keep
don't
putting
let
them.
it affect you, right? When you have negative people around you, if you don't take that in and take it personally, you're going to be much more likely to be able to raise the vibration for them so that they can join you. But once you start getting in that yucky place, you're going down with the ship.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And it's because, you get what you focus on. You create what you put your energy into. And if you're busy thinking, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong, he's so negative, I can't have this, because you are just lathering it on top of yourself, making it harder and harder. So you're quite right when you say, you come back and you just love them anyway, and you do you.
Yes.
And guess what happens? As you rise, then they go, oh, and they just come.
Yeah.
And as the leader of the household, like you are, um, your energy is so important because you set the tone
Yes.
for everyone.
Yeah.
But you do that in your family and you do that in big life as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just you doing you.
I got accused of being too happy the other day, and I said they asked me not to be too happy, and I said I will never dim my light for anyone. So if you can't handle it, you may need to leave the room. I don't know what to tell you.
Here, have some sunglasses.
It's like that's just the if you're going to be around me, that's pretty much the way it's going to go, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And that light draws, like you said before, that draws the right people to you.
Yeah.
And then they hear what they need to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And things start shifting.
Yeah. What are some tips or advice that you can give to people to kind of stay in that high vibrational space?
One of the things that I like to do is just imagine there's a line of light and right down the middle of you, from above, right down past your feet, and then you just expand that light out. So it's clearing your mind, it's clearing your heart, it's clearing your body. You just take it out as far as you can, like arm's width is pretty good. And it's just like, just take a moment, put everybody outside of that line and take a moment for yourself.
Do you have a name for that? I'm like trying to come up with a name for that.
That's Michelle's magic process.
Kind of, I don't know. I always like to think of like a car wash, but it's different than a car wash. I don't know.
Because see, the car wash has a lot of trauma and action in it, doesn't it?
We want to.
We just want the light. It's like a curtain. You open the curtain, and boom comes the light, and all the angels singing at you, and you just take the moment and reset. It's quick. It's super quick.
So good. So good. I'm going to do that. That's a really good tip for just like a reset, Yeah.
Before you go into one of those difficult conversations with your partner, just do that so that you're coming from neutral.
I love that.
Because neutral will attract neutral. If you're coming from an adversarial position, you're going to get a pushback.
That's wonderful. No, absolutely. So it's like preparing the energy field, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that.
And
go ahead.
So I think that is what this manifesting from calm instead of chaos is that you're preparing the energy field that creates your pathway.
Yes.
And you just walk on it.
Yeah. I even love the idea of like bringing the light around whatever you're thinking about, the light around our experience of finding a home, or the light around finding a new job, or, just bringing that and wrapping that around instead of the negative stories that you've had.
Yeah. And like funsies, the way you're doing that in love, in joy, in like, oh, I wonder what we're going to find, that excited, anticipated possibility. I mean, the universe loves that kind of energy, and you'll just get, more and more of that coming to you.
Yes. And I just love the idea, and this came to me really clear this weekend, was that I am the one who either makes it miserable or fun for myself. And by the way that I'm responding to people, or the energy field that I'm in, that I've decided to be in that day or that moment. And if people aren't exchanging the energy of my joy or however I'm feeling, that doesn't mean that I need to drop it. It means that I just need to stay in the alignment of it, and maybe take a few minutes, because you can do this light thing in the bathroom. Just
easy. Yes.
You need a reset,
Just while you're pouring your coffee, it's like, because, I'm human too, and I find during the day I need lots of resets.
You do. No, we do, because there's so much coming at us. There's so much energy coming at us, and we're navigating it, we're processing it, we're coming up with our own stories about it. So if we can just take that time, and I think this is the secret to all of life, like to creating the most fantastic life, is to spend those times in the quiet where you can reconnect with that divine energy, that higher state of consciousness, where there's nothing. And it's like the ultimate reset, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And you just touch into the stillness.
So good.
Because, that's where the presence is. That's where the power is. That's where it all comes from. And if you can just even just for a little clip like that will stay with you through your day.
Yes, absolutely. And then you become that for other people as well, It's not when we're all stressed out and in our, I call it business mode, when you look at people and they don't even look at you. They don't even see you. I'm like, oh man, you missed out on a really good smile and a beam of light.
Yeah.
Too bad
Exactly.
because you're thinking about the 8 million things you have to do today, you know?
That's it. Yeah,
Just,
we do. There's so much to do. We get blinkered, we just get focused on what we've got to get through. So I find that little exercise is really powerful, super simple. The more you do it, the faster and quicker it gets.
yeah.
So you get to the point where you just go light, and the energy knows what you're doing and it just does the push for you. You can just think one word.
I know what it reminds me of. It's like a photocopy machine. You know how like the light
Yeah.
photocopy machine? That's what it reminds me of. I was trying to
Yeah.
think of like, what does it make me think of? So you bring the light down and then you just imagine that it's coming out and just kind of cleansing your field, kind of around the field.
Yes. And
Amazing.
you can take it just into your field, you can take it through your home or your office, wherever you are. If you're out in the park, you can just cleanse the whole park. If you want to do something nice for everybody that's at the park that day.
It's powerful. Yeah.
It is.
Why not
Yeah.
like expand it and make it more, right?
Yeah.
People
And
will,
then people say, "Oh, I just love hanging out with you." They say that to you all the time, right? That's your energy. That's what you're putting out.
yeah. I don't know what it is about you.
Yeah.
I'm not taking life too seriously. I'll tell you that, if I can make a joke and if I can make someone laugh, that's pretty much my goal every time I leave the house, is just to be in that lightheartedness and to help people to shift out of that business mode or those worries or fears or whatever. Because when you do that, they get a little uptick in their energy and then they're going to greet the next person differently. And then that's what does the better it gets, the better it gets, right? As we elevate our vibration, then we start to attract those things that are of a higher vibration. And before you know it, like somebody's bringing you flowers or, you win the lottery or all these different things start happening, these really good things. And you go, wow, today was a really good day. And it's like, you did that. You did that. Yeah. I share that a lot. You did that. Yeah.
And so, like, when I say it's all about you, that's true for each one of us, because we're in charge of how the day unfolds.
Yeah. Good news and bad news, people.
Yeah. On a good day, everyone's going, yay, rah, rah. On a bad day, not so much. But
I'm doing this. I've had people weep about that. Like, I created this. I'm like, yeah, but you did it unconsciously up until now. When we can do it deliberately and understand how the intricacies of energy works and our energy, we become so much more powerful.
Yeah, and I think too, when you can pull energy down from source for yourself, that's pure, clean energy rather than rely on the energy of exchange too much. It's nice to have both going on to support you on the planet, but it's a fun ride.
Yes.
And it should be fun. Like, we are playing as creators, and it's about feeling loved and feeling meaningful and feeling fulfilled.
I love that. That's precious. I'm going to put your website up again. You can find Michelle at A Pathway to Knowing. Can you just share for like a minute about your sessions and what people could expect from something that I'm highly recommending?
Thank you. So I will work one-on-one initially with clients, and it's really understanding who you are through the eyes of your soul. And pieces start clicking into place the whole time, and then we work on what's in the way of that. And then you begin to understand, well, that's not so bad. I can work across that. And then we move into sort of like mentoring and support and the really like, okay, so this is your heart's desire. Let's take that off the vision board. Let's make it real. Let's put it into life. Have that. You deserve that. Oh. So it's a process, and that's why it's called A Pathway to Knowing. It's a pathway to knowing whatever you need to know to have your best experience.
I love that. That is so good. And I really can't say enough about what it's done for me in my life and how blessed I feel for meeting you and the universe bringing you to me at the exact time that was really important.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you. And that's how it works, isn't it?
Yes,
that's right. Creating from a place of calm.
Yeah.
Like I just appeared.
Yeah. we can trust that. We can trust that there's support coming. We can trust that this journey is unfolding magically and beautifully and expansive, and we can't screw it up. And we never know when it's going to end. So we have to make the best of it and live in the preciousness of it.
Yeah, live each day.
Yeah, absolutely. To the fullest. Well, thank you so much for your time and for being here. I'm so blessed and honored. And this was a blast. This went so fast.
I know it did. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute delight.
So good. Well, thank you all for watching and listening. I love you all. I'm so excited for this next journey of your life, for you to get in touch with Michelle and to experience what I have, which is living in a little more of the magic, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Beautiful.
Thank you.